Welcome back to another edition of Rake Your Position, where four lifelong friends are trying to live out the dream in the comfort of their chairs. I'm Aaron, the host.
I'm Joe, the groundskeeper. If you got crusty feet, get you some O'Keefe's. Works real good. Thank you.
We got to change the lineup. I don't know how to follow Joe every time. Like, he's going to say something so off the wall, but I'm Jay Lee the Rover.
And I'm Corey the Statman, and I don't think that's going to quite
That's our first sponsor.
stick as
Yes,
well as,
that's
okay.
totally unplanned.
Oh, man.
Okay.
stick as well as the joke last time, but I appreciate the effort, I guess.
Yeah, I've never used O'Keefe's.
Let me tell you about O'Keefe's. This is where we would put the ad in if we have
Working hands. Corey types all day. Why do you need it?
one. Sometimes it's cold in the office and my hands dry out.
Come on. Oh, wow. Well, with that
What a
being
week in
said,
baseball.
let's move to the Rakings. We got a little bit of change. We got some new people getting votes. Some guys trying to sneak in there. But our top five doesn't look a whole lot different, but let's break it down for you. And I know we're going to have some discussion on this in just a moment. Coming in fifth place with 4 points, they got a single third place vote and a fifth place vote are the Rangers.
Mhm.
Diamondbacks are in fourth with a third place vote and a fourth place vote.
Wow.
Baltimore in third with a second, a third, and 2 fourths. So they actually got 4 votes there. Braves holding strong at second with a first, 2 seconds, and a third. And the Rays, 3 firsts and a second.
I don't know. I wonder. Now, I know it wasn't me, but who could it have been that voted the Braves first?
I could drop some knowledge on it if you want to, but let's
Great.
start at the
Well,
bottom.
me.
Do you want to talk Braves right off the bat?
No,
I mean-
go 5.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Hey, man, you're the host. You
Yeah,
lead
they're
us
already-
in
Who's
this.
our honorable
30
mention?
seconds.
All right. Honorable mentions
Okay.
were the Giants got 3 points. They got a fourth and 2 fifths. So who voted for those guys? Corey and Joe vote for the Giants. All right.
They got a
The
fourth and
Sanford-
2 fifths. That means
So-
3
yeah,
fourth
yeah.
and a fifth. Fourth and
Oh,
a fifth.
okay.
Sorry.
I voted them fourth.
Gotcha.
I guess I voted him third.
And the Reds got 2 fifths. That's what I was trying to say.
That was
The
also me.
Reds, I
What
also
are
voted
we
for the Reds.
doing? I'm quitting.
No,
If-
okay.
If
we
the
made a-
Reds played most of the league right now, they would probably win.
We made a huge deal about the Rays being 12-0 at the beginning and like how that just unanimously made them the first overall team. The Reds have went 10-0 in their past 10 games. The Giants have went 9-0 in their past 9 games. Like by that same logic, they should be on these lists, which is why I put them on them. And mine is
Well,
the
yeah,
correct one.
Reds still 5 games above 500, and the Giants are 9. So the Giants makes more sense, but continue.
The Reds record is interesting because out of all these contenders, they have changed their roster the most. So you do have to weigh recent success a little bit heavy for the Reds compared to like early season struggles because they've actually made changes. So their team right now is better than a 53 winning percentage. I would say that's why I voted for him.
Enjoy Votto's back, which
Yeah, you got Votto back plus Dela Cruz and McLean and Abbott. Abbott's pitching well. Like it's all working for them
is
right
he
now.
related to Jim Abbott?
Jury's still out.
Okay.
Yeah, we have
He
the
just
test back.
he just sent off his 23andMe.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
So you
Giants.
can-
Yeah, the Giants been playing super hot, so it's a nice little addition.
I didn't know we got votes for older players coming back to a young team. That's weird. This voting system's flawed.
If
Uh,
I will
He
give
helped
Joey
them
Votto
win
a
yesterday.
vote. Yeah.
They've had a
there's
void at first base, and he's back. So
if there's a character clause to keep people out of the Hall of Fame, I think the Hall of Fame, I think there should be the same character clause should be used to boost them up if they're kind of borderline, which I know is a discussion for another time. And we've briefly discussed Joey Votto Hall of Fame before, but
yeah,
I think he's well loved by everybody.
and he makes baseball fun. Jared,
Yes.
did you see his Instagram post Like when he got sent on assignment for rehab, he made a bunch of Instagram posts of him driving the bus. And then his last post before he got activated was him. I don't know how you'd say it, but he was quitting the bus driving route. And then he made a cool video of him in like a Cincinnati Red Texas suit. Oh, he had a cool red suit on walking through the dugout. So he's having fun with it.
So, question before we continue, because I'm still stuck on this.
Okay.
All right.
The Reds have won 10 games in a row. Is that right?
11.
As
But
of
they
the
are-
voting, it was 10. They just
Yeah.
won again. So 11.
And then the Giants have won how many?
9.
9 of 10.
So, did we vote for the Athletics when they won 7 in a row?
No, but they are not even close.
I'm asking that because that's what we're basing it on.
The Reds are leading a division. The Giants are second in a great
Okay.
division. The
I just
Athletics.
felt that was my only question. We can move on.
The Athletics are 27 games back. It's
Jared was the
June
one that was
21st.
tooting the undefeated streak.
Yeah, no, I know.
Undefeated is different than a win streak, and you're 5 games above 500.
I'm with Jay Lee on this. I mean, we
Thank
can't.
you.
We've talked so much about we can't disregard the whole season, and now we're like, oh, let's disregard the whole season. Wow.
It's not.
Thanks, Corey.
It's a first place team that's won 11 games in a row.
Every team that got votes has at least 40 wins. So, I mean, and it's not like they're in
There's
the top
definitely
5.
5 teams better than the Cincinnati Reds.
I don't know if that's true right now.
I don't know that's true either.
Yeah.
That's why I voted for him.
I mean, I don't know if you can have it over 100% true, but I'd put it at 1,000% true. They're a minus 14 differential run. I mean,
That's not indicative of the past month.
Of who they are now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of who they are now. But the top 5 looks the same. Rangers, D-backs, Orioles, Braves, Rays. I voted the Braves first. I had to do it. Basically, everything you say about the Rays, the AL, you have to say about the Braves, the NL, as far as complete team, hitting, pitching, all the above, defense. And then for June, the Braves are 14-3. The Rays are 11-7. So I gave the Braves the first place vote this week. This is the first time I've voted them first since like week 1, I think. But I think just right now they're clicking on all cylinders. So that's why I gave that vote. But everybody else kept the Rays at number 1. So I don't know if you got anything else to add about any of those teams. Not a whole lot of surprises right now at this point. Or if you want to argue with me,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Braves, Rays. I mean, I think it's a 1A, 1B. That's so my 5 spot, it was 1A, 1B, Diamondbacks or Giants. And just because the Giants have won 9 of their last 10, I put them in the 5. But the Diamondbacks are right there as well. I just wanted to switch it up to have a little bit more fun and get yelled at, I guess.
It's fun getting yelled at when you're right. Like those Diamondbacks
Sure.
just keep cruising.
Whatever
I got
you
yelled at
wanna
for
believe.
8
Right,
weeks for
that's
voting
fine.
for them.
I mean, I don't really know if. Yeah, I don't know if I want to continue to yell at you guys because everyone has an opinion. Sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes they're not even close to being right. But I mean, the
Go ahead.
Braves' schedule hasn't been that tough. So the toughest series they had was the beginning of June against the Diamondbacks,
Mm-hmm.
and then the
We beat
Nationals.
everybody.
Ooh, careful! Oh, then we go play the Tigers. And you lost that series. No, one got postponed. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I got postponed.
And then you played the Rockies. So I don't know.
I
don't
can't
know.
name
Like I
one
said-
Rockies player right now.
And the Rays played Oakland and San Diego, 2 last place teams. The Twins, the worst division winner. So they beat the Rangers. Braves beat. Who'd you say again? First week of the season or week of June?
You're the one who watches every game.
I'm pulling up Tampa's. The schedule.
Uh-oh.
Tampa and Braves schedules for June. Similar opponents, quality, and the Braves have played better. So I'm taking it. I'm living with it.
Well, that's good because it's your opinion. It's your opinion.
I'm
That's
not
fine.
wrong this week. Last week I admitted that I may have been wrong.
Well,
This week I'm
you
not.
can be wrong more than once.
Nope.
Even if I'm wrong, I'm not going to admit it. So
Yeah, the Astros fell off a cliff after I voted for him. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah, keep voting for him.
So you're welcome, Jared. That was just for you.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, with the Rakings in, could join the conversation. Shoot us some comments or emails or text messages about how you would vote the top 5 teams. I'll give a shout out right here. Luke Erickson, buddy of mine that does ministry up here at the college. He's a big Cubs fan, but he texted me earlier today that somebody better vote for the Reds. And I sent him a text and said I did. And that's before I knew Corey also did.
Luke.
So
What's up,
Luke,
man?
the Cubs fan, also wants the Reds to get some love. So there you go.
As they should.
All right, so we're gonna change gears here and play fix our own team. We're gonna be the GM of our own team for a bit. And Corey's gonna start us off.
Yeah. So I'm a Cubs fan. In case any of the 26 people that listen to us didn't know that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Well, surprise. I know my hats might throw us off. The Cubs are in a very interesting position because I think they're close, especially in that division, at least to just compete with the division. I don't know if they're World Series contenders, but they also are they signed Dansby, so they are wanting to win now. So it's an interesting spot where you're not just kind of selling everybody you have for these super young guys that you hope turn out. There's a few big pieces, obviously, that are coming up on contract years. The biggest is Marcus Stroman, but if I'm the Cubs, I think I would try and re-sign him. He seems like a great guy, great locker room guy, great pitcher guy. I know that, but it's the Cubs. The Cubs have money, and it sounds like he wants to be there. He has, made it relatively public that he has reached out to the Cubs and tried to talk about an extension, and they have not talked back to him yet. Which is a bad look for the Cubs, but I think it's kind of a typical look of teams. It seems like, except maybe the Braves, who just re-sign everybody. But that would be my first step. My first step would be re-signing Stroman. And obviously, if that's not something they want to do, then they could probably trade him and get quite a bit of money. He's been pretty far and beyond the best pitcher in the NL this year. The other bigger one, kind of, is Cody Bellinger, who they signed to a 1-year deal. Before he got hurt, he was having a really good start of the season. I think that's a guy you got to trade because to me, Bellinger's a type of guy that is looking for that big, long contract. I don't know if that's something he's going to get from the Cubs, especially because the Cubs are very deep in their outfield in the farm system. And so as far as I'm concerned about that, there's a few teams that are competing right now that would be looking for a center fielder. Miami's second to last in center fielder war. The Indians only, they're seventh to last, and they love Straw.
Yeah, Miles Straw.
Yeah, but he can't hit.
Yeah.
He can field, but he can't hit. And so, if they think they can do something, and they want to make a move, which they sometimes don't.
Corey,
Yes, sir.
does anybody say you field, you play?
Some people, I don't, but we wouldn't agree with them.
For an extended amount of time, does anybody say you field, you play?
How did Ozzie Smith hit?
In today's age, does anybody say you field, you play? No. It's called you hit homers, you play.
That's true. The other interesting one, I said Marlins were second to last. I really think that there's some connection here to be made between the Cubs and the Marlins. If the Marlins, again, these are teams that historically don't make moves and try and improve their teams that significantly. I think the Guardians do a little bit more than the Marlins, but the Marlins are overperforming quite a bit, and they've got a pretty significant prospect pool here to choose from. And what I would package with Bellinger, if they're going to the Marlins, is Patrick Wisdom to play third base. Because, like we mentioned about Gene Segura, his third base is atrocious this year. His hitting this year. Um, but the other thing we've said is that the Marlins have guys like Jordan Groshans. If they like, he would be a guy that I think could come up and play unless they just don't think he can do it. Because that would be the piece that if I was the Cubs, I would be looking to get back. I think is Jordan Groshans or some other third base guy because the rest of the Cubs are very deep in the outfield. They've got Dansby at short, Nico at second. Mervis has underperformed at first, but also first base. I'm not that concerned about filling as far as a whole. I think first basemen are pretty easy to come across. Catcher, they got Amaya did well. Jan Gomes is doing great, but he could be a guy that could be on the move if somebody needs a catcher. As far as the two big pieces, Stroman, like to see him back. Bellinger, I think he's the guy you move. Caveat: if the Cubs decide to move Stroman, I would love to see the Orioles go after him. Because the Orioles are another team whose farm system is just outrageous right now. And they've got a couple third base guys. Jordan Westberg might be a bit of a stretch. I mean, maybe not for Stroman, but I think they like Jordan Westberg a lot. Kobe Mayo's another guy. Can play third base. That's pretty good. So that if the Cubs don't re-sign Stroman, my next best thing, just me as a fan, would be Stroman to the Orioles, which I think could make that team really dangerous. Moving on, Drew Smiley, I think, is a guy that's having a great year. Wrote down here Blue Jays just because I think the Blue Jays are looking for pitching help, and he could be a guy that goes over there and he'd be I think obviously relatively cheap. I think a lot of the other guys are pieces that you're not really looking for a lot back. Michael Fulmer, who has not pitched well for the Cubs anyway, so if somebody wants to take a flyer on him. Tucker Barnhart has not hit well. I thought it'd be interesting maybe if the Reds did a little reunion with him because their catching situation. They got Kurt Casale, and then I don't even remember the game.
They're carrying 3 catchers right now because Stevenson's DHing a lot. They got Kirk Casale and is it Luke Mayo? Is that who's over?
That's his name. And it'll be interesting now that Votto's back. How that works. I assume Stevenson will catch more because they've got Steer and McLean and De La Cruz.
They got a lot of positional flexibility except for Votto.
Yes. Mike Tauchman has came up and done awesome.
He does that though.
I know.
It's small spurts, and then you forget about it for 2 years, and he pops up someplace else.
I know. So he didn't play in the majors at all last year. He's played in 29 games this year. 2 homers, hitting 295, 805 OPS, playing center field, like another guy that, but yes, he is a very streaky guy that comes up and does great for teams, and like teams fans love him but then he just kind of falls off the wayside. Trey Mancini hasn't really done too much for us. I know the Mariners have pretty weak DH spot. Thought that would be an interesting spot for him. And again, these are guys that I'm not going to try and pick and choose prospects because it's not going to be, I think, that significant of a package.
Yeah,
coming
take
back.
Whatever you can get.
Yeah, but so I mean, it's basically, if I'm Cubs GM, try and re-sign Stroman, get a decent package maybe for Bellinger, maybe a little something for Smiley, and then just trade off as many guys on expiring contracts as I can, because again, the Cubs are in, I think, a really strong spot for maybe not next year, but 2-3 years from now, when you start seeing PCA come up. They got Kevin Alcantara, Brennan Davis is still a guy that you keep your eye on. Owen Casey, it's just pure power, and you know what they say about that.
No, I'm not sure what's up.
You field, you play.
Yeah, I think that's pure. He's pure power of the glove is what they've but I mean, they could use pitching. They've always had a lot of trouble developing pitching. But yeah, as far as if there's a position to target as far as a prospect that's a year or two away, I'd say it's third base, and then obviously just load up on the arms and hope one of them works out. But it's not too exciting because they are in a they are already set up into a position where they should be good to go.
Mm-hmm.
in a year or 2 or 3. But yeah, as far as this year, because the division's so weak, they might make the playoffs, but like they're not World Series contenders.
Yeah, that's the tough thing with that Central.
Yeah.
I think the Stroman case is obviously the key. And could you trade him and still re-sign him? Like, could you work out a deal? Hey, we're going to trade you, let you go win, but we're going to come for you, so he doesn't get mad at you. But Smiley and Bellinger, I think I cash those guys in. And I don't know the farms of these teams, but Bellinger to the Yankees, they need another outfielder, that lefty bat in between Judge and Stanton.
Who else is healthy in the Yankees? That's the question.
Yeah. I don't know their farm, so I don't know what they get. But
Yeah.
anyway, I mean, the Dodgers need starters. Arizona needs starters. Cincy needs starters. The Mets, if they're going to buy, they need starters. Phillies. I mean, so many teams would be in on Smiley that I think even him, you get a decent prospect back.
I mean, we'll talk about later, but starting pitching, it does seem like there is, there might be quite a few of them available. That was in our list of things of positions that we're going to discuss. Might have been one of the longer ones.
But Smiley might be the least volatile. He doesn't have the high ceiling that some of these other guys do.
You know what you're getting,
but you're going to get a decent start every time. He's proven that for years.
Yeah. So you cash in on the two guys you said, and hope you can get something from some of the other guys.
The Angels, we all want the Angels to get the playoffs. They need starters.
They don't need another lefty starter. Like I thought
they need a good lefty starter.
You better not trade for Drew Smiley.
But Stroman would be great out there.
Yeah. I just don't know that their farm. I guess that was the thing is I think if you're trying to get a haul for Stroman, which again it's a rental, so what exactly is that haul look like? But the Orioles do have a much stronger farm because I looked and I don't know these guys that well.
In Baltimore or LA?
In the Angels. Like
I mean, Adele's still their big trade chip, and like you said, Cubs don't need an outfielder. Would you take him if that's the best you got? Sure, but I'm sure they're looking for infield and pitching.
Yes. Yeah.
Sounds good. So, follow-up question. When are the Cubs going to be competitive consistently again? What's your thought?
I pulled up a calendar as if that was going to help me.
August 12th.
Yeah. No, consistent. I mean, I think next year will be better than this year. So then I think that will be the trend. So I mean, I think as early as next year, because technically, let's see, they are 3.5 games back. That's competitive this year. I think.
I bet competitive in playoffs, like legit shot. They're behind the Reds. We don't expect the Cardinals to have back-to-back rough years. Pirates, they're probably equal with the Pirates, I would say.
I don't know that they're
slightly ahead of the Pirates.
Far behind I don't know that they're that far behind the Reds. I mean, I think the Reds. I think the Reds are ahead of them as far as timeline. But once everybody gets there,
right. So the Cubs, you think the Cubs could be the Reds next year? Some of these young guys like PCA and stuff start coming up.
Yeah. Yes.
Push them.
But they have to make room because they've got Seiya and they've got Hap. Like, I guess one of them, Seiya could maybe DH, but there's a limited amount of spots on the field as the Reds are finding out.
Right.
So
Cubs will be interesting the next 12 months for sure.
And maybe they can flip some of those outfielders for other positions, like do like a prospect swap.
Which we'll probably talk a little about the Reds a little bit. Prospect swaps don't happen that often because everybody's afraid to lose those. But I
don't think we're far away.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, I'm going to talk about the Braves just a little bit before we hand it off to the Cardinals. Our goal was
fast.
What's that?
The Braves don't need to do anything. They're the best team already.
That's basically what I was going to say. I mean, they are first in OPS as a team, first in homers, and they're in the bottom third of strikeouts. So their offense is fine. I don't Azuna's finally hitting. I would have said a month ago, do whatever you can to find a new DH. But everybody, I think Austin Riley has the lowest OPS right now out of the main starters. Oh, I take it back. Harris does, but Harris was just player of the week. Will probably be player of June for the month. The way he's destroying the baseball right now. And then so he's at 700 OPS. Riley's in the 750s. Everybody else is 800 or better. So offense, you're not going to change. The one bad thing about the Braves is overall team defense. You watch these guys play, they make all the plays, but I think with Riley and Arcia, range on the left side specifically is probably the weakest spot, but you're not replacing those guys. So
Hey, Skip, does defense matter?
No.
that doesn't because the Braves are destroying everybody. Rotation looks weak, but they actually lead the NL as a team in ERA. They're fourth in the majors in ERA, running out these rookies. And at some point, the second half, the rotation will be Strider, Morton, Freed, Wright, Soroka, and Elder. So you're going to have 6 guys. So I don't see them adding there. So I think their biggest move would go get a lefty and go get a righty for the pin. You can never have enough elite pin arms. And then in the playoffs, you see guys hardly ever go, 4 or 5 innings as starts. They shrink them in the playoffs and play matchups. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind. I don't know if he's a clubhouse cancer. He's got kind of a reputation, but the way Chapman's throwing again, and KC has a couple of other righties out there, and Amir Garrett's out there too. KC's got a lot of pin arms that I'm sure they're going to flip because the team's struggling big time. So I don't know what that looks like. The other position I could see them maybe doing is upgrading the utility spot in the bench. They haven't used that person really yet. They've been using veterans to keep the bench warm so that Chris
R.I.P. Charlie.
Yeah. It sounds like Charlie's going to be back this weekend once Murphy's okay to play again. They'll just.
Is his dad going to get to throw out the first pitch whenever he
I don't
comes
know.
back?
Sometime this summer.
Better.
But yeah, so like Charlie's kept the bench warm. Adrianza kept the bench warm. He's on the 60-day IL right now, so he'll be back at some point this second half.
The heck of a splinter.
Yeah, exactly. They just don't want to put Shoemake and Grissom on the bench, and so they're just putting random vets on the bench. So I don't know. I was looking at maybe flipping one of the starters. Schuster probably is the better one of the two, but maybe flip Schuster to the Orioles for Mateo. With Mateo's defense and speed, he'd be a nice bench piece for the playoffs. He's not hitting at all this year, so his stock is way down. With Henderson playing a lot of short, Ramon Arias was, I think, the Gold Glove winner at third last year, and Jackson Holiday. I think by the end of the year, if the Orioles make the playoffs, Jackson Holiday is going to be on the team as utility guy for them. So I was looking at Baltimore. Baltimore could use another starter. Maybe we could flip Schuster and somebody else to get Mateo and really solidify the bench for the second half.
Jackson's in what, Double A right now?
He's in high A, but he destroyed A ball.
Nasty.
He's still hitting over 300 in high A. So if he's in Double A second half of the season and they make the playoffs, like. Right now, they've got another rookie, that Ortiz guy, on the bench. So he's the backup shortstop to Gunner right now. But I would think, man, if Jackson tears up Double A second half of the season, I don't know why you wouldn't use him as your bench guy.
Speed and defense.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if they could catch Mateo in for some pitching, I think Baltimore would at this point. And the Braves only have Schuster to trade. They got nothing else. Unless they move one of those other shortstops, so which that could happen. But
Holiday at high A, 39 walks, 40 strikeouts, hitting 304, OPS 937.
Yeah.
Oh, also he's 19.
If the Orioles want to sell some merch, they'll bring up Jackson Holiday. They're not. I can't imagine they bring up a 19-year-old to play in the playoffs. That's never going to happen.
We've seen teams do it the last few years.
I would like to see the numbers of what those kids did. But hey, there's some beast out there.
I think Bryce was up when he was 19. Let's see.
See, Holiday's Yeah, Holiday. Yeah, so Holiday won't even turn 20 till the summer or till the winter. Excuse me,
Yeah.
till summer's over. So,
Bryce won Rookie of the Year at 19, 139 games, 22 homers, 817 OPS.
these top prospects come up. Wander Franco
Hey,
came
Babe
up.
Ruth was pretty good too at 19. I heard.
Wander Franco came up when he was young, 19 or 20. I can't remember.
We're just gonna name the one-off ultimate 19
No,
beaster.
recently the elite prospects come up for the playoff run to solidify the bench. They don't necessarily play, but I'm saying, are you going to have Jackson Holiday or some scrub on your bench for the playoffs? You might as well use Holiday. Christian Pache did it, and he hit a home run. Started in the NLDS for the Braves.
I'd take.
Everybody got hurt.
I'd take Jason Wigington.
Dyson
Who?
Whittington, Ty Whittington. What?
No,
So yeah, I think adding
guy
to the
down the
pin.
street.
Oh, adding to the pin is all the Braves need to do, and then get healthy the second half of the season, and we're set. So let's GM the Cardinals, boys.
I'm gonna buckle up for this one.
I'll go ahead and get this over with, so we all know this
No,
is
no,
a
no.
joke.
Hang on.
This
hang
is a
on,
joke
say-
of a season. Hey,
This is a tag team.
well, well, I'll tag you in. All right.
All right. Yeah. Cool. Got it.
So, I mean, as much as everybody on the Braves is playing at the absolute peak of their ability, everybody on the Cardinals is playing at the absolute bottom of their ability. I'll start with a couple stories, I guess. This is a good way to tell you what I think, which is probably the correct course of action. Look how I've done in life. So, maybe you can catch on to the theme I'm going with here. So the last car I had, I drove it till it had almost 300,000 miles, and then the transmission blew up. I had to get towed back home. Different car, but had a set of tires on that different car. Dad's like, "Hey, your tires have no tread. You should get some tires." I'm like, "No, they'll be all right." Tires blew up. I had to get towed. Actually, I didn't get towed. I just drove it into town and got a new tire. I had a pretty good financial sense. I got into Bitcoin a couple of years ago, and it was riding high. So didn't sell that. Still holding on to that, waiting for that to come back. One thing that has worked out. This is year number 15 for me at my the same job I've had. Good company. Shout out to I won't use their name. Maybe they'll sue me, but so I guess where I'm going with this is my philosophy is you ride everything straight into the ground, and you just hope that you pulling on the joystick brings the nose back up and you fly high again. So if I have to read any articles or I have to listen to anybody, Jay Lee, if you want to do this, it's fine. I'll support you. I'm almost to tag you in, so
Good luck, Jared.
hang tight. Hey, I'm power bombing and leg dropping in here right now, so let me keep rolling. Get on the top ropes and wait for the tag in. So I ran some numbers over here, and we all know numbers don't lie. So there's no rebuttal any of this. So the pitching is about 85% worse than what it should be. The hitting's about 46% worse than what it should be. Just looking at career norms, which Cardinals have several veterans. Oh, maybe they're getting old. Maybe they're slowing down. Okay, well they didn't get their legs chopped off, so they should be playing better than they are. So yeah, my thing would be do nothing. Wait for the guys to play how they actually should play. If they don't, well, sucks to be a Cardinal fan. If not that, the other point I have is sell the farm, get Ohtani, and then sign him to a career or a lifetime contract. Give him half ownership of the team. Before I get into any more, Jay Lee, right here, bud. Come on. All right, you're in, my man.
All right. I don't really know where to go from there. I think I should have went first. Honestly, I don't have a story to back up about my car blowing up 4 times and all that fun stuff. So this is about how to fix the team, right? That's the segment.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think you can fix this. This is just bad baseball. I mean, just looking at stats, I'm the one that has stuck out immediately. Me. So 74 games played from the pitchers, 74 games started. Guess how many quality starts they've had?
4.
6.
13.
19. That's horrendous. So for me, Michaelis, you're gone. Montgomery, you're traded. Flaherty, you should have been traded 4 seasons ago. Steven Matz, don't even know why you're still playing baseball. Wayno, thanks for coming back. It's a cool story, but you're old. Jordan Hicks, traded. That's just the pitchers I would trade. Let me go to the batters real quick. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say I could get behind Jordan Hicks being off the team for sure.
Okay. Paul Goldschmidt, but your only shining star that could probably get some return out of, traded. Wilson Contreras, you're great at what you do. Not. Tommy Edman, you're a shortstop playing center field. That's insane. So kudos to us there. Nolan Gorman, you get moved around all the time, and we just can't keep you in the DH spot where you thrive at. That makes sense to me too. Hang on, there's more. Alec Burleson, why are you even in the majors? Dylan Carlson, you need to be traded. Jordan Walker, hey man, you're the only person that plays regularly hitting over 300. Congratulations. Tyler O'Neill, don't even get me started there. Juan Yepes, yikes. And that's the roster. Oh yeah, no, sorry, Paul DeYoung traded. So if you look at it, as you can tell,
what about the third baseman?
Oh, Arenado, no, I'd keep him.
That's the one guy.
I'd keep 3 players on this roster right now: Arenado, Gorman, and Walker. Everyone else is up for grabs.
Arenado's like that Will Smith meme where he's just like looking around the empty house at the end of Fresh Prince. He's just like, what's going on?
And I bet what Nolan Arenado is doing right now is, why did I opt in?
Probably because 100% of the baseball viewing population knew that the Cardinals would be in first place, but they're not.
Yeah. So if you're asking me if we're going to be buyers or sellers, the thing is, we should have sold a long time ago. The frustrating piece is, I just think, I know Joe's point was just to keep riding it, and I think that's what's gotten the Cardinals organization in some trouble. I think Mo, that's what his mentality is, yep, it's fine, we'll figure it out. You're not figuring it out. Like, you keep talking about the players. Of course, these players aren't playing the way they should. 100%, I get that. But at some point, like, it's just the same old Mo of, I don't know. I could continue to go, but I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop there.
You know, you say the frustrating part. The frustrating part is, how do you trust the front office to make a good trade with all these guys when none of their when the talent they keep comes up and sucks, and the talent they trade away is good. So if you're gonna trade all those guys you want to trade them for Ohtani and say, hey, Angels, go do what you want. No, here's another $100 million in straight cash, just so you'll trade them to us.
You got the Colorado Rockies to pay Arenado to trade him to you, so I don't know. So they got something there. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing. As you look at these Cardinals, to me, is it seems like it's a Mozeliak problem, but he's entrenched there. He's not going to change Marmol. It's been less than 2 years, right? This is only second season, but it's a lot of weird decisions of roster. We've talked about, roster manipulation and who they call it. But I also saw this tweet of Mozeliak's free agent track record of signing people.
Horrendous.
376, almost $377 million he spent in the last 10 years for 23 WAR at free agents. Mikolas is the biggest at 6.7 WAR. Sungwon Oh, is that how you say that? That close they used to have. He had 2.8 WAR. And then Albert Pujols last year got 2.2 WAR. And Pat Neshek and Johnny Peralta. So you're going way back to get positive WAR. Everybody else is negative. So it's weird how Mozeliak still has a job.
I mean, I've talked
I
about
figured
it all
that
the time.
would be the first thing you'd say. It's fire Mozeliak, and then we'd be fine.
And if you're not 30 2 years and older, you don't get an extension. So,
Yeah.
or you don't even get looked at if you're a St. Louis Cardinal.
I know it would be
Oh.
hard to swallow to move Goldsmith after an MVP year, but you've got Gorman, you've got Walker, you've got Yepes,
Not me.
you got Baker that are all better served to play first base. And Goldsmith should be able to get you a real good, near ready MLB starter. So
To me, that's just a better trade chip, in my opinion. Like, cool, you
Yeah.
won the MVP. Here you go. Bye.
I was looking
So-
at Ivan
Okay.
Herrera's tearing up AAA. You're talking about
Sure
Contreras.
is. He sure is.
So you're talking about
Insane.
Contreras.
Who would take on that contract after everything that's happened with, like, his stock has never been lower.
Contreras?
Yeah.
He's playing fine. It's
You
not
might
his
want to look
fault.
at you might want to look at his batting line.
Has it dropped?
Hang on.
Oh, yeah.
His
Yeah,
average
he's
alone,
playing at half of what he normally does.
Okay.
207.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind getting out of there though.
Oh, I'm sure, but who's going to take him?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you'd have to pay another team to take him and get nothing in return.
Now, robo umps are coming. His value's going to go up.
if the Astros think that Abreu is really broken, that could be an interesting spot for Goldschmidt. They have the lowest WAR out of the first base position so far this year. Yeah, first base is a tough spot. I mean, I mentioned it when I was talking about the Cubs. Like, first base is not that premium of a position as far as what you pay for it, unless it's just. I mean, Goldschmidt was very good.
Yeah.
It
He's
is very
still
good.
one of the better ones though, because he can
Yeah.
do both.
But there's not a lot of contenders that it looks like really are going to be after
Yeah.
first base help. The Indians again, but they got Bell and Naylor and nowhere really. But yeah, no, it's coming from a Cubs fan. This is something I've never seen in my lifetime happening with the Cardinals. I've seen it happen plenty of times with the Cubs.
Who's playing
know.
first in San Fran? Do you know the San Fran roster?
I don't, but I've got a bunch of stuff pulled up and I can find it out for you. They have let's see, San Fran.
Isn't Lamont Wade playing a lot of first base?
They've got 1.1 WAR. They've got the fourth best. Oh no, fifth best. Sorry, fifth best. Is that how this chart works?
Yeah, it's Lamont Wade and Wilmer Flores and JD Davis. They take Goldsmith. I don't know. There's and it like the Cardinals will be good again next year. So might as well cash in a couple of these guys and get some starters for next year. But
yeah.
With that being said, what are some other exciting buyers or sellers? What are some teams you're going to keep an eye on for the trade deadline going forward?
Well, I can tell you one that I was kind of anticipating, but they're in contention. So I think that's kind of where I'm going to go. Is there's two pieces I was going into this season that I'm like, well, depending on where they're at, these could be huge. Obviously, the first one's Shohei. The Angels aren't going to trade them now because they're too close to doing things. But I think that could have been some cool, like, that would have been a huge return.
Yeah.
And I think the Angels really would have thought about it had they been close. So I was kind of excited to, I mean, we want to see the Angels do good, but also I was kind of like, man, if they suck, that could be some really cool MLB deadline stuff. I still think the one piece that could happen, I know there are only a few games out, but I know Corbin Burns on the Brewers has had some bad blood with the contract dispute. So be interesting to see like the next few weeks what happens. Potentially there could be some movement there. So those were the two off the top of my head, but I know we got a bunch more on here.
Yeah, well, Burns was interesting, and the Brewers are interesting because they traded Hader when they were pretty well in the playoff hunt, and it was because they had basically already accepted that they could not or would not. I don't know which one it is. I hate to say that you can't sign someone
you
to an
can.
extension. They had made a decision that they were not going to be signing Hader to an extension, so they sell their, I don't know, top three closer or trade their top three closer. And that's, the Brewers are weird because they are, I think, still the favorite to win that division this year. If they were performing like they should have been. I know we all picked the Cardinals, but whoopsie.
Don't
You want
time.
to fight?
What's that?
I said, do you want to fight?
Here, I'm tagging you back in.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, climb on something.
I just think you never know what the Brewers are going to do. Burns is an interesting case to look at. They got Wade Miley too, who has pitched well when he's been healthy. But if I'm them, I'm not. I'm like,
They got one more guy waiting for it.
we got one more guy.
Yeah, one more starter. Come on. You see Julio Teheran?
Oh, Julio Teheran. Yeah, okay.
6 starts with a 1.53 ERA. He wasn't even in the bigs last year.
Yeah,
Cash him in, man.
him and Mike
Did I
Tauchman,
miss-
man.
Did I miss something on our thing here? We have Pete Alonso listed. Is there rumors of that?
Corey was typing that while I was making.
No. So he's on a contract year. Like he's a free agent after
okay.
this year.
He ain't
I didn't
going
know that.
nowhere.
If the Mets, so that's the thing is that is kind of some of the guys I wanted to talk about were kind of those fringe guys. Like Matt Chapman's a free agent at the end of this year. Josh Hader's a free agent at the end of this year. Aaron Nola's a free agent. Blake Snell, like all these guys that are on these fringe playoff teams, like the Padres are not really that close to much of anything right now.
Mm.
But they're the Padres.
They trade Soto, maybe? Is that what you're thinking?
I mean,
They've signed everybody else, so sure they can sign Soto too, or they might be the one team that's actually out of money, like because they've actually tried and it hasn't worked. But
so that's if the next 2 weeks continue to go poorly for the Padres, do they sell? Maybe not. Maybe not trade Soto, but do they sell and trade Snell and some of these other guys that maybe I don't see them bringing Snell back, but the Padres have never done anything that I would have expected them to do. So, but yeah, Pete's a guy that, again, if teams are looking for offense, you're going to get it from him. And I think he's a durable guy. He's going to play.
mm-hmm.
He got in a car crash and went to practice the next day in spring training or something like that. Because I think the car looked. I think the car hit him and the car exploded. But
I read an article today talking about the Mets selling because if they wanted to, like Scherzer and Verlander are both on short-term deals, they would have to pay down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's 2 other guys that would really change the market in a hurry. I just don't think the Mets are going to sell. I don't think they would admit defeat on August 1st. But Milwaukee, you're right. You have no idea what they're going to do.
When do you admit defeat? If it's not by August 1st and you're 13 and a half games back,
I know,
June
but I don't.
21st.
I just don't think Steve Cohen's got it in him to sell.
Yeah,
Could be wrong.
I mean, there's the White Sox have a ton of guys. We've talked about them before.
Yeah, it's been a month now since we talked about them potentially being sellers, and that's what's interesting. Like talking about buying and selling, I keep looking at the White Sox roster, like, man, these guys have all the good pieces. Then why are they so bad? I don't get it.
They're 4.5 games back.
Well, because the division's bad.
I understand, but if their team should be good and you're only 4.5 games back, are you sitting here like, okay, at some point we have got
a lot
to play
of guys on expiring contracts, though.
Ride it into the ground, what I'd say.
I know Joe's like,
go for it, White Sox.
Tim Anderson, though. I mean, like you could fly. He's even playing bad, and he would still net you.
He needs a different change of scenery.
Yeah, they got tons of pin arms like Joe Kelly who have been there, done that. Every playoff team would love Joe Kelly and his fire coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Joe Kelly.
Yeah,
come on the pod.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, so many guys on Lucas Giolito.
Mm-hmm.
They could cash in real quick and be at the top of Central again next year, but it'll be interesting because there's so many teams, especially NL. This is not how we expect it to be in June. So the teams that are on top that
hold on 1 second. Let me look at our predictions to confirm that this is not what we expected to happen.
We don't have to.
I'm 2 for 3 in divisions. I'm going to throw that out there.
Okay, you're right. You're right. I've got Guardians by 15 in the Central. I don't. It
Cardinals
doesn't
by
look.
15
Yeah.
in the Central.
Yep. Okay. Cardinals taking the Central. Yep. That's
I
not
had the
happening.
D-backs
We all
winning the
four said
West.
that.
Just saying that.
We got the 3 people that said the Padres in the NL West. Okay. Perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. This is not how we expected this season to play
So
out.
we did not
just want to
think
confirm.
We did not think Cincy would be buyers. We didn't think San Fran, Miami would be buyers. So it'll be interesting because a lot of these teams, Pirates, are they going to buy? They're just as close as the Mets. No,
Oh.
they're not. They usually don't buy.
Nope.
So,
We know where they're not trading Brian Reynolds.
Miami, nope.
yeah. So I don't know how many buyers you actually have. Arizona, I think, should be aggressive in fixing their rotation. And the rest of the NL, I don't think is going to. Miami, if they can get a bat, but I don't know.
I mean, Miami's got the pieces to get. I mean, it doesn't even have to, like, that could be a Trey Mancini thing where, like, Mancini goes down to Miami and he is there to hit.
Miami, Cincinnati make a lot of sense. Miami with
Yeah.
the young pitching, Cincinnati with the young bats.
Mhm.
Prospect versus prospect swap there.
Well, yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
The AL, it's teams that we thought would be competitive, except for the Rangers are higher than we thought.
Yeah. The one team I think has some interesting pieces is the Mariners as well. They got Colton Wong. Colton Wong is on an expiring deal. Teoscar Hernandez, again, if you need a bat, like Hernandez has been a pretty consistent
Mhm.
power hitter. I think they were hoping to be a little bit more competitive than they were this year, or are. I don't want to say they're out of it.
They love to trade. I mean,
Yeah.
they trade all the time. They traded Graveman. They did the same thing. They traded their closer when they were in it to get ready for the next year.
I really like to model my OOTP GMing around Jerry DePoto's kind of.
There you go.
But yeah, it's again, I don't think that they're a team that can win it this year. So if you got these guys on expiring deals, might as well get something for them.
And if you look at the bad teams, Oakland, Kansas City, Colorado, Washington, those teams don't have a lot to offer anyway. They each got maybe one okay piece. So it's going to be interesting because the teams that have the best chips to trade are hanging out at the wild card table, but are they realistically going to make it? So
yeah,
it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's why I think. Yeah, wild card's great, but if you can cash in, from my standpoint, cash in if you can. If you know you are not a legitimate World Series contender, do what you can to get something for these guys.
We've seen you get in the wild card if you're hot.
That's true.
What your roster looks like, you got a chance. So if you're still going to get the wild card, you might as well flip some guys. But yeah,
that's true. That would not be my philosophy, but that's maybe why I'm not. Again, the people playing in the majors are better than I am at baseball. The people managing baseball teams are probably better than that at me as well.
Nope. We're all professional GMs here. Just haven't got the call yet. Ain't that right, Joe?
Yeah, with my mental acuity and my ability to stay calm in stressful situations when things aren't going well, I feel like whatever level of management I was in I'd succeed at.
Who owned a team and they lost one game, that team would not exist anymore.
Yeah, Joe would be the opposite. If he was really the GM, if Goldie went 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, guaranteed Golden's getting cut. Yeah.
So, I'd let you have 2 games like that.
2 games, okay.
If you come in and walk the leadoff batter, that's immediate. I mean, being cut from the team is the least of your worries. I'm in New York and I got some families.
Wow. Okay.
There.
Moving on. So join the conversation at home, buyers, sellers. What's your team looking at doing?
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. I think there's going to be a lot more trades, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be a lot of the big names this year. I just don't know who that's going to be.
Joe,
I don't know. I'm
go ahead.
hung up on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Padres are 9 games out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to our points, I think they have all the money in the world to pay anybody. But what team do you think could make a run at Soto for like a playoff push? Because you're probably not gonna keep him.
Yeah.
Right, unless you're a big market, because he's gonna demand a huge contract.
I
Because his stock is actually rising compared to when we first talked about.
Yeah,
Soto.
he's playing better. I think San Fran's always wanted that star.
Mm-hmm. What do they
I can see
have?
that.
And Miami. He'd be a lot of fun in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I was thinking Miami too.
Miami's got better pieces to trade than
Yeah.
San Fran.
It'll be
well,
interesting because this new GM that Miami has, Lee Ming or whatever her name is, she hasn't been there since
that
they
wasn't
could.
it. That's
What is it? It's
that-
Ing. It's NG. What is it? How do you pronounce it?
I think it's Kim.
I-
It's Kim. Yeah, but I don't know how to pronounce
Kim
it.
Ing? Kim Ing? What is
you
it?
think
Michelle?
Miami would trade a rental player, or you think they would re-sign Juan Soto?
I think they would try to sign him.
Yeah, the Cubs, if they got Dansby for 7 years, they could get Soto. If they think they can sign Soto, they could trade for Soto and then give some of their younger outfielder surplus back. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking we've talked about the season being so weird in baseball. What my mind is going, I'm thinking these teams and Baltimore's probably gonna be good for a while. So I think they have all the prospects and they're building the right team. So I'm gonna exclude them. But teams
Sure.
like the Marlins, the Reds, the Giants, teams that I guess are on the outside looking in, but maybe they won't be good for an extended amount of time, like make a run at it if you can get into the playoffs. And like you said, when you're hot in the playoffs, that's all that matters. So I think some of these teams that are normally not there, like if I can get this one big rental and try to go for it all and give up a few pieces, but still have an awesome farm system. I don't know. To me, I'm thinking that maybe they try to make a push for that because they're not going to, I hate to say not be around or relevant for the next few years, but maybe something like that.
Miami's pitching is going to be awesome for years. Like that's not an issue. They just
they've got
get a
pieces coming
hitter.
too.
Yeah, they just cannot get a hitter to commit to go there. And Soto's not going to sign an extension. He's going to hit free agency. So it doesn't matter where he plays the rest of this year. He's going to hit the market, which will be interesting. If him and Shohei are both free agents, Soto might end up back in LA with the Angels.
You better play well the rest of the year.
He is right
Be
now.
disappointed.
He leads. Yeah.
And he's crushing it right now.
He
Yeah, so
leads
San
the
Fran,
Angels in
Miami. I like
everything.
that. Shohei? Oh, yeah, Shohei is, yeah.
I bet he might win MVP.
I've heard that.
We'll see, I guess.
Good pick. What's Texas's outfield look like? They've been going big lately. Do they need
They got Adolis.
Adolis, and that's all I know.
Former Cardinal.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
That might be a spot for him.
They've got two other guys out there. If you'll
Do they? They may not.
They do, and their names are
Stall.
Leotis Tavares.
Yeah, he's replaceable.
He's hitting 300, 850 OPS.
He ain't Juan Soto.
24 years old, and Robbie Grossman. And their DH is Brad Miller. So yeah, they could
use Soto.
For Soto.
Boris is probably the best center fielder they have, but Garcia's been an RBI machine.
They got the cash flow.
They got a guy by the name of Acuna that they could maybe ship back to the Padres.
Oh yeah, baby Acuna, bam! Dude's a stud. Can't wait for him to get up. That Ezekiel Duran too has been tearing it up, and Simeon and Seager are locked up for the next 500 years, so he ain't going to play much.
Joe, you mentioned kind of driving it into the ground. What would the average age of the players on your team be? Like 45? They're just out there with walkers trying to win games, or there's no tread left on their tires?
Oh no, I'd have to think about that and get back to you.
Yeah, I mean it's probably a pretty cheap team if you got a bunch of 45-year-olds out there.
He's only got players falling over dead on the base paths.
Yeah.
Actually, I think
not from age. That's from them not playing well.
Oh
Wow.
For
the views and ideas expressed by the groundskeeper,
From-
views and expresses of the groundskeeper.
This is in
Breaking
OOTP, not real life.
position
Not real life.
Is not responsible for anything that he says.
Jared, go ahead, please.
From being an understudy to Joe here, because I think his ways of GMing are
he's changed
what's the word I'm looking for?
Correct.
Unimaginable. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, correct, sure.
Illegal?
No, I wouldn't go as far as illegal. Maybe after that last comment, we'll get back to that.
Murder is illegal, Jared. Murder is illegal.
Oh, news to me. Anyway, I think probably going back to Corey, your question about him, like what would the average age be?
Mhm.
I think what I've witnessed is Joe brings him into the office and he goes, "Hey, when do you think your prime years are?" And they tell him, he's like, "All right, get back to me at that age." So whatever that is, he ships them out and then brings them back at that time. So I think that's kind of what he only looks for people in their prime, and then
Yeah.
they play.
I imagine he does a lot of shipping out, regardless of what age they are.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of transactions you got to keep up on. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, alrighty. Are we?
The business credit card is fully maxed out with shipping people off.
Is my role here owner or GM?
I think both.
I mean, I think for you it's
Baseball
both.
Lord.
You're the owner and the GM. You don't hire a
Okay.
GM if you're the owner.
Yeah.
Well, financially, I'd be massively lobbying the I don't know if it'd be the PA, the union, or maybe those are the same in one. We'd have steroids back in baseball for almost immediately. And then outside of that, my decisions would
If you're
would
the first
create a dynasty that would make the Celtics blush. Would create a dynasty that would make UCLA think, "Wow, what have we ever done with our history of our school?" Would create a dynasty that would make Tom Brady come back out of retirement to try to get a few more Super Bowls because his career records would mean nothing. Go ahead, Aaron.
if you're I don't know what other than- if you're the first team to employ mandatory steroids, then who's going to tell you to stop it? Like everybody be scared to confront you guys. So that's a good strategy. Got
Thank you, Aaron.
a whole locker room of roid monsters.
Oh, it's not just the locker room; it's the whole franchise.
Yeah,
It's
if
the
you're
groundskeeper.
employed,
It's
yes. Yes, if you're employed,
The guy flipping
you have roid rage.
burgers.
yeah, like
Yes.
the guy handing out hot dogs. The
Oh
old
my
lady
gosh.
scanning your ticket when you come
Hey.
in the stadium.
Yeah.
The organ player.
Yeah.
I'm on the steroid.
Full
There it
circle.
is.
Full
There it
circle.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
I think we've exhausted the buyers and sellers segment.
We should.
Are we?
wrap it
Is
up
that
with-
still
we
where
should
we're
move
at?
on before we get in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, before I think
we're past that.
that's like 40 miles back.
Corey, give us an update on our weekend predictions from last week.
Guys, we were very average.
Yay!
Oh,
Jared, Joe, and Aaron all came in at 3 and 2, and I once again pulled up the caboose at 2 and 3. But
dude,
hey,
why are you so bad at this?
I was close.
Which we all determined at the beginning of the season that this showed who would be the greatest GM. So go ahead and give us an update on who's in
Sure.
first place throughout this here competition.
It's our one qualification.
Joe, you are still in first place at 26 and 22. Jared and
Thank you.
Aaron at 25 and 23. And I have broke the 30 loss barrier at 18 and 30.
You ready to sell?
Oh my goodness.
Dude, that's gross, man.
Somebody's got to do it.
You don't have to. We could literally all have winning records. We're not competing against each other.
I guess that is true.
Nobody has to do that.
I
bad.
was trying to feel good about myself.
No,
Here we are now.
Nobody has to do that bad, Corey.
Maybe that's why we can't have guests on the show because, like, no, Corey's really bad at picking teams.
That's probably what it is.
Corey's been reaching out to basketball players and hockey players. He doesn't even know what baseball is.
Yep. Cricket players mostly. I'm getting a little confused. I thought it was the same thing.
They swing stuff, hit round balls.
Yeah. All right. On to this week. We are going to start off. We have all of our favorite teams represented here. One of them is against each other, but we will start off with the Braves at the Reds, two teams in our top. The Reds weren't in our top 5. They should have been though. The Reds should have been in our top 5.
Oh my gosh.
If you look at the win probabilities from Fangraphs, the Braves are heavily favored in all of these games, which is why I'm going to take the Reds.
Which is why you're 18 and 50.
That's true.
Braves.
Jared's taking the Braves. Joe?
Yeah, the Reds.
You taking the
Are
Reds?
not.
Oh,
I heard a pause too. Threw me
Locked
off.
The
it
Reds
in.
are not good. We can keep talking about, oh, these young guys are hot. Yeah, well, you know what? Hot
Hands get cold.
hands get cold.
Unless you get those things that you get when you're hunting.
Unless you live in Georgia.
The
I
hot
mean,
hands.
I wish Abbott was pitching so he would get rocked because he's one of the worst pitchers I've ever seen in my life.
Hasn't given up a run.
Who, Jim
Astros
Abbott?
coming back though to
Doesn't
get
give-
destroyed.
Hasn't given up a run.
Abbott?
Unless he, yeah.
He has a 0 ERA.
20 something innings.
Well, I'm not sure we're up to that point yet, but yeah, it's a lot.
All right. Well, I'm going.
That was
with the Braves.
23. Did I not read 23 innings? Did I
I
miss
thought it was like 17, but he might have had another game. I believe you.
I don't.
Braves.
Reds?
Braves.
Okay. The next one is the Pirates at Marlins.
We already know who you're picking. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna take the Marlins
Oh wow.
because this,
Your
Mitch
boy
Keller
Mitch
only
Keller.
pitches one game, and then they're gonna lose the other three. So I'll take the Marlins here.
Yes, I also have the Marlins circled.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm computing here real quick.
Hey, what's
yeah.
These
We
have been
all
in the
know.
agenda all week.
I'm just saying, with some of these pitchers that the Pirates trot out, the fact that they even win a game. So yes, who are they playing? The Marlins? Is that the other choice?
Yes, yeah, that is the other choice.
I'm picking Miami. Miami.
I'm going Miami as well. Just a quick update on Andrew Abbott. His last start, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned, 10 Ks. So he's got 1.14 now in 23.
That's weird. Seems like he gave up a run.
That's true. Nothing gets past you, Jared.
Don't lie to
Watching.
me on this.
I gotta try and make stuff up so it seems like I'm smart because obviously I'm bad at this. All right, Mets at Phillies. I don't know what's going on with the Mets, and I also chose the Phillies to win the East, so I'm gonna take the Phillies. I think they're doing pretty good now. You at least picked the
Are you
Braves the first
picking-
time.
Why are you picking the same teams as me? Phillies.
All right. What
You
else?
know, this is
Not
funny.
happy.
I just thought of this. Is it on me?
Yes.
Mhm.
Aaron, you're going to be my best bet here. Listeners, maybe you as well. Do you remember an old TV show? A guy and his family's on a dirt road in a truck. Big old crack opens up and they fall in the crack and they go back in time and they're living with dinosaurs.
Is this
Okay,
a cartoon? Is that a cartoon movie you always
Not
pick
a-
to watch?
Not a cartoon.
Dino
no,
Riders?
That's Dino Riders. No, we'll have a 4-hour episode devoted to that. I don't know if the name of the show was called "Living in the Land of the Lost," but that was what the theme song said, and that's what I imagine every Mets player. They sign a fat contract, and then that theme song just starts playing as soon as they hit the New York County line. Francisco Lindor came to mind when I thought of that. So with that said, I'm picking the Mets.
I don't know what just happened.
What is going on?
I don't know. I'm still not sure how that translates, but okay.
When people go to New York, they stink. They're living in the land of the lost.
Okay, Joe. Okay.
Come on. You guys are uncultured.
I got the Phillies.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you have anything to add to that?
they suck less than the Mets.
That's a hot take.
Yep. Is Christopher Sanchez the old he's not old pitcher prop. He used to be on the Braves. That who that is? I don't know who that is.
I have no idea.
Christopher Sanchez.
Next is the D-backs at Giants. I like the Giants a lot. I have also put them in the top 5. I think they should be there. I'm going to take the Giants.
Thank goodness. Diamondbacks.
Man, the Giants are always solid. Like, I don't think any of us really thought they'd be as solid as they are, as they're solidly playing, right?
Correct.
I've always liked Logan Webb.
Are you in love with Logan Webb or something?
I've never heard you say anything nice about a baseball player before.
Michael Walker.
I remember when he pitched a couple years ago in the playoffs. And I watched him, and I have the eye for talent. I was like, holy smokes, this guy's.
Okay. Just make a pick.
I'm a little bit torn here. So let's go with the home team. Let's go with the Giants.
Okay.
You just talked about how awesome the Giants are. Oh, I don't know. I'm a little torn.
Well, if a giant steps on a rattlesnake, the rattlesnake's probably dead. So let's go
Unless
with
it's
the Giants.
Diamondback and it bites him. Are Diamondbacks poisonous? They are, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. So the Giant dies. The Giants nail. They're the masters at the 1-year vet contracts that always do awesome. But the Diamondbacks have been my boys all year, so I got to stick with Diamondbacks.
All right, and then the last series we're going to talk about, which this might actually be a good time to say a split if you wanted to, is the 2-game series in London. I was going to do a British accent, and I changed my mind.
No, Governor.
Do it!
Nope,
I can't
that's
do accents
Jared's got us covered.
That's pretty good, Jared.
I've been
Oh,
working
thank
on
you.
it with my Harry Potter reading, but
Oh yeah, nice.
that's another.
Oh, that was a British accent earlier?
No,
Cool.
that was Hagrid earlier, but the other characters are British. And that's where I draw a lot of my inspiration from. Welcome to our Harry Potter podcast. I'm your host, Corey. Anyway, I'm gonna pick the Cubs. Wainwright, Flaherty. I mean, Tyone's been pretty bad too. I feel like the Cubs are gonna take the first game, and then the second game's kind of a take your pick, and I'll pick the Cubs.
Yeah, that's not what's going to happen. The Cardinals are going to win by 40 runs combined
Okay.
in both games. So I'm
Okay,
picking the Cardinals.
Joe, are you calculating?
Yeah, I just looked up where they're playing and like the dimensions. I was hoping it was going to be like 600 feet to left and right, and then 1,000 to center.
They've moved
But,
the fences back.
They moved them back a little bit, but not enough. But I'm going with the Cardinals. So Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a gut feeling that the Cardinals are going to win this.
Cardinals
I'll go.
always play good against the Cubs.
I'm going to go Cardinals.
Maybe
Yeah.
Pujols will be over there, and you can get some ABs.
Well, we'll see. We've got 3 for the Braves, 1 for the Reds, clean sweep for the Marlins, 3 Phillies, 1 Mets, split on Giants D-backs, and 3 Cardinals, 1 Cubs. I just looked at my phone and saw that I had a message from Joe the Groundskeeper about shouting out why 3 of us have the guns out.
Roll them up.
You don't want my
Shout
guns out.
Shout out to
So
Aaron's
white.
dad, Pat, the king of the tank top. My guns are more like airsoft guns, but
Mine are Nerf.
they're guns nonetheless.
Hey, it's Nerf or nothing, baby.
That's right.
I finally got in the group chat with the 4 of us and Pat sent a I don't know if it's inspirational, but it was a 1 sentence, but it was just like a hey, dude, have a good time, guys. And so just
He always
be a
sends us
dad.
a Wednesday text getting ready for the pod. And this was spur of the moment, so I feel bad that I don't have a tank top, but I'm at my church office and I don't have one laying around here. So I wasn't able to join the fun at the last
Hey,
minute.
if you take it off and just like shave,
Yeah.
I have to shave my arms too, though. That's the thing.
all right,
A lot of work.
that's after hours.
Anyway, shout out to Pat. Speaking of you, Pat, thanks for always
Yes.
sending the text.
Yep. Love you. All righty. So with that being said, we just once again demonstrated our amazing baseball knowledge and GM skills. And so we would love to hear from you guys. Trade deadline's a little over a month away. It's August 1st again this year. It's a trade deadline. So it's going to be a fun month plus in the bigs with a lot of teams succeeding that we did not expect. So let's sit back, enjoy the ride. And until next time, don't forget to rate
Your position.
Your